I fecking love this game.
The right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucretia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo.
Seriously, the Forgotten City has absolutely blown me away. So let's take it back a bit. This was originally a mod for Skyrim that was downloaded by millions of people, and it also won a Writers Guild award. Going into this, I didn't know what to expect. I knew very little about the game other than it had a Majora's Mask-like time mechanic, which, if you know me, is right up my alley. Very few games attempt this, and even fewer succeed, so I have to commend the devs for having the balls to even try. So what is the Forgotten City, and is it worth playing? Well, my name is Adzi, and I'm here to tell you exactly why you have to play the Forgotten City. The Forgotten City is a narrative adventure game with very little combat. You wake up on the bank of a river having no clue where you are or how you got there. You're then sent into a cave that warps you back to around the Roman times. The Forgotten City is a small community of people that are trapped at the bottom of a cave. It's like any other town. There's a tailor, an architect, priestesses. You get the picture. From the get-go, something is off and the residents won't stop talking about this golden rule. A quite disgusting rule where the many will suffer for the sins of the one. And it's here where the game kicks off. Each civilian has their job, backstory and thoughts towards the rule. Some think it's real, others think it's a load of crap. The main issue is what classes as a sin, and this is where it becomes convoluted. No one knows whose moral compass they're going off. What us modern people think is a sin, the Romans probably have a different opinion on it. The narrative is gripping, and from the first 15 minutes I was hooked. The majority of your time will be spent exploring this rather small yet beautiful city. You're tasked with finding out who is going to commit the sin that will be the ruination of the whole city. And this is where the murder mystery style gameplay comes in. As you chat with the citizens, you learn about the potential sins they will commit. So one person knows that another guy is homosexual and doesn't like it. He's on the verge of sin, but you can intervene before it's too late to stop the harassment. And the knock-on effects are brilliant. You can piss off a character who is integral to completing a certain task, locking you out, and here's where the best part comes in, the time loop. Each time you sin, you must rush back to the portal to loop back to the beginning, and you keep all your precious items. You might need money to bribe someone, so you steal some in one run, then loop back to keep the money, but the sin never happened. I just love this concept so much. And here's where I tell you, if any of this sounds interesting, then just turn this video off and go play it. I'm not going into spoilers here, but I think this is a game that you should just experience completely blindly. The customs of the city, what is right and wrong, who gets along with who, are just some of the intricacies of the narrative that I would like to leave completely unspoiled. The level of immersion is some of the best I've experienced in a while. I just zoned out completely for the 3 or 4 hours I played, which is rare nowadays. The dialogue is very well written, living up to the award that the writers received for the mod. Every character is believable, and the mixture of races and periods of each character is blended so well together. It even had me laughing a few times, like at the beginning when there's a joke about Karen memes before you go back in time.
Yeah, something like that. But right now, I have bigger problems, like finding Al.
Facial animation is very stiff, but looking at the size and budget of the team, it makes sense that they can't afford super realistic facial animations. The game mostly looks beautiful, the initial walk through the city is breathtaking, and yes, it has a budget look to it, but I think it still looks great. There were a few technical glitches like shadows taking a bit too long to load in, or one of the worst ones was the game stopping to load an area. I think in this case the game should have had loading screens, because the game freezing in place to load is a lot more immersion breaking than a loading screen. Now, it was never too big an issue, but it's just something to note. The gameplay is really basic, but that's completely fine by me. Most of the time you're walking around, interacting with characters and items, and that's it. Movement speed is good, so I never felt bored exploring. There are a few puzzles and combat sections, but the puzzles are hardly challenging, and the only weapon you have is the bow, and it feels slightly worse than Skyrim, but you use it so little that it's hardly an issue. Now, I don't think the game needs combat. Maybe if it was 10 plus hours long, the walking and talking may become stale, but a short adventure like this doesn't need any bloat. You learn plenty about the world and its characters by simply exploring, reading notes and listening to their conversation with one another. It was a great touch seeing everything unfold in real time. I could save one character and later find him talking to his friends about the things that I have done. Clearly, a lot of the budget went on writing, so any deviation from this could have hurt the experience. Games don't need to have intricate combat systems and complicated puzzles. If the world is developed well enough and the writing and characters are good, then you don't need to overcomplicate things. Nowadays, games have become quite bloated. I couldn't count how many 40 or 50 hour games I've put 20 hours into and had enough. I don't like content for content's sake. Yes, the Forgotten City is €30 for at most 5 or 6 hours if you get all the endings. But you know what? It's some of the best hours I've spent in the last year. If you need real hours per money spent, then at launch price I would stay away. But if you're like me and aren't too focused on it, then please play this game. It's easily in my top 3 of the year. The devs set out to make a mystery narrative adventure and they absolutely knocked it out of the park. If you're into similar games like Telltale or Life is Strange, then you have to play this game. Well, there's the Forgotten City. If you've made it this far, let me know what your favourite narrative-driven games are, and while you're at it, you may as well subscribe. I really appreciate your time, don't forget to join the Discord, and I'll see you all on the next video.